Hello, I'm Nikki, and this is my channel, Nikki's Divine Notions. And in this video is my first video that I'm going to start documenting our homeschool journey. This is not the beginning of our homeschool journey by any means, but this is going to be where I begin documenting because we're going to take a different direction. My son, who is 12 in 6th grade, he just turned 12 yesterday. Today it is March 4th. 2025, and we've been homeschooling pretty much since he was in 2nd grade. He was in 1st grade when COVID came out, and that was like our prayers had been answered when COVID came out, because then we were forced into homeschooling, which is what we wanted to do anyway. So now that he's in 6th grade, we've done a bunch of different things, and I've just come to the conclusion that I want to do his education completely different. I personally feel that our current public school system serves some children. I mean, it serves lots of different purposes. Some children need our public school system in order to eat and get attention and get their education. There's just nobody else there to help them. There are children who learn very well sitting in a classroom, having a teacher sit and instruct them and reading out of books and learning out of books. But that is not how every child should learn. Not every child learns that way. And I really feel like a lot of the children in our current school system we're failing them because we're putting them all into the same learning style. And I understand there's a limited way of doing things in what we have, but our children are the ones who are suffering. And then not only that, we're damaging them. I feel like the ones that don't learn in the current system that we have, they're being taught that it's their fault, that it's something wrong with them, which is not true. They're being failed. We're failing them by not serving their needs, which every child deserves to have their needs met when it comes to their education. My son in 1st grade, kindergarten, hated school. And kindergarten should be fun, but he hated sitting in a classroom all day long, learning with a teacher in front of him. He wanted to play. He wanted to run. He had energy that prevented him from having any interest in what that teacher was doing. So right off the bat, he's in conflict with his surroundings. And it has nothing to do with him. It has to do with him being in the wrong environment. So that's just one example of my opinion of how our current system is not necessarily fit for everybody. I also believe that a lot of the stuff that they're teaching is kind of a waste of time. I really feel like they change how they learn the math to make it even more complicated and force them to learn it that way instead of making it an easy thing to learn, which would make them more interested in learning if they're better at it because they learn it faster and quick, instead of forcing them to learn something a way that is not natural for their brain to function. And then throwing all these kids into this system when knowing that they don't all fit and then giving them grades is like tearing them apart. The ones who can't get the grades in comparison to the ones that fit that system. The ones that fit that system easily get grades because it is working for them. They're learning everything. And the ones that don't fit into that system, that are being failed, are told they're failing by the grading system. So I don't feel like every child should know how to be a writer. All the things that we teach our children to, I think every child should know how to read. I know every child needs to know how to write and spell and know what the meaning of words are so that they can correctly express themselves. But nobody needs to know how to be a writer unless it's your passion. And then you will learn it. You will have a teacher in front of you that'll be teaching it to you, and you'll have that passion and you'll absorb the information. And for you and the teacher, it's a beautiful coming together. People who are athletes, they shouldn't learn to be writers. They shouldn't learn unless they have a passion to write and play sports. I think that children, we should feed their passions and their strengths. And we should teach them the basics, like math and English, how to spell, how to write. But they also should know how to cook, how to clean, how to change a tire, how to grow food. Why do we not start teaching them from a very young age how to take care of their bodies, how to love their bodies? These are all more important than learning shapes that they're never going to use. Like learning what an adjective is can be beneficial, but isn't learning how to put proper nutrients into your body more important than knowing what an adjective is? I feel like it is. I don't want to teach my son history unless I'm sitting in a museum or I'm sitting in front of something that can give him a visual that will bring him in and make him inspired to learn what I'm trying to teach him, instead of sitting in a book. This book has got to be done this year. You're in 6th grade. Here's the history book for 6th grade. We're going to just do all the stuff in here. No, that's just meeting requirements for an educational system that puts requirements on people to make new things happen. It's not necessarily thinking this is for the benefit of our kids. So I'm going to teach my kid how to make cookies by learning what a cup is, what 3/4 of a cup is, and he can see it and then add it and then make something out of it that he can actually eat. I'm going to teach him how to do his own laundry. I am going to teach him how to use tools. I'm going to teach him how to grow food and how to take care of animals, the anatomy of animals, how all of that works. He will learn how to type, all of the technology that he needs to know, like how to type. He's going to need to know how to use Microsoft, Office, Windows, whatever, like all that kind of stuff. I will teach him the right way instead of letting him just wing it and then teaching him, taking his precious young moments when he's a sponge and feeding him full of stuff that he has no interest in learning, that he will not use more than likely in his life. I want to take that time and do something right with him. So, luckily, I do have a spouse who supports what we're doing. He understands that the school system is not necessarily what it used to be. So, for me, I found that the school system wasn't beneficial to me either because I have the same issues that my son has, and there was nothing out there for me. There was no understanding of what was going on with me other than I was an okay student and my sister was a straight A student. She could put her hand on the book and absorb the information and say, test me, and get an A. I would read that same book over and over and over again and barely get a C. And that's just the way it was for me because I wasn't in the right environment for me to be able to learn the information the same way as she did. And it's that simple. But I had no choice, and I was taught that she was a good student and I was not. Not that I was a bad person, I just wasn't a good student. Possibly wasn't as smart. Even though I know now that I am super smart, and I don't want my son to ever think he isn't. Because when you're giving him the information right, he picks it up faster than most, and he learns it deeper than most because he's learning it as he's doing it, not just on a piece of paper or out of a book. So this is the beginning of our journey. I am being called to do this with him, to change things for him. And I hope that a lot of other parents are feeling the same way. It is causing our young people to have depression at a young age. I mean, in first grade, I would pick him up and he would be red-faced, crying because he hates school. I hate myself. I just want to die. First grade, he would say that. It was heart-wrenching to see him suffering at such a young age. So I know that other parents are going through the same thing, and I want them to know they're not alone and that it's not your children. We need to do better for them. They need to know that it's not them, that there's a system that isn't perfect and they're suffering. And as long as they can understand that we know it's not them, even if you can't do something for them to change, they have to go to public school or whatever every day. Try to let them know that you understand that the system was not designed for them, that they're struggling harder than everybody else because it was not designed for them. And that is horrible. That is wrong, but that is the best that you have for them right now. And if you possibly can, stay home with them. Join this journey with me. I'll share everything that I'm doing. And if you feel that you agree with the same method for your children, you want to see them glow and be motivated to learn, then follow along and hopefully you can join us. So if you're still listening, thank you. Because for me to get this off of my chest is a huge, huge thing. It's scary. It's scary to not go with the flow, to not do what everybody else is doing. But I know in my heart, for my child, I have to do this. I have to make a change, no matter how scary it is. I know in my heart what is out there is not right for us. And I have to make what is right for us available to us. I have to make it exist. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it exist for us. So I hope you follow along. Please like and subscribe. You know how that works. The subscribing and the liking helps me out. It helps my channel out. And then ring the bell. That lets you know when I put something out. All right, thanks.